Okay, a very good morning to all of you. So in the last class, we have discussed about the PLI, that is Programming Language Interface, and Introduction to Module. Okay, in today's class, we are going to discuss about the detailed description of the module. And also we are going to discuss about the simulation and synthesis tools. Okay, now here for today's session, I have referred most of the text and figures from this textbook, that is designed through Verilog HDL by T.R. Padmanabhan and B. Bala Tripura Sundari. Okay, now let us start the session. So module, what is meant by module? Already we have discussed the definition of the module in the previous sessions. Okay, so module is nothing but any program which forms a design description is a module. Okay, or any program written to test a design description is also a module. We call them as stimulus modules or test benches. Okay. Next, now you see, this is the representation of a module as a black box, with its ports. Okay, port means terminal. Port means terminal. So look at this picture. So how many ports we have here? So three ports, that is input port, output port and in-out port. Now what is meant by input port? Input port means, that means any signal that is entering into this module. Okay, output port means any signal that is exiting from the module, and in-out port means any signal, some cases it may enter into the module and in some cases it may exit from the module, that is in-out. Okay, now here some example is given. So how to declare the module? So the first of all we have to write the keyword module. So here we have mentioned module, it is the keyword. Okay, so module, that means any Verilog program always begins with a keyword called a module. So here module, and next what is the adder? It is nothing but the name of the module. It is nothing but name of the module. So within brackets you have to define the input ports, output ports and in-out ports. Okay, so here in this example AB are considered as output, PQ are considered as in-out and XY are considered as inputs. Okay, so this is the representation of a module as a black box with how many ports? Three ports: input port, output port, in-out port. So once again, what is input port? Any signal that is entering into the module. What is output port? Any signal that is exiting from the module. What is in-out? In some cases, the signal may enter into the module and in some cases, the signal may exit from the module. Okay. Next. So you just go through these points. The terminals of the module are referred to as ports. Okay, the ports attached to a module can be of three types. So what are they? Just now we have discussed. Input ports, through which one gets entry into the module. Okay, they signify the input signal terminals of the module. Output ports, through which one exits the module. Okay, these signify the output signal terminals of the module. Next, in-out ports. These represent ports through which one gets entry into the module or exits the module. Okay. So these are the terminals through which the signals are input to the module sometimes, and at some other times the signals are output from the module through this. Okay, that is in-out ports. Next. So here one thing you have to remember, that So we have discussed that how many ports? We have 3 ports, that is input port, output port, in-out port. But here one thing you have to understand, that is it is not necessary that every digital circuit design must contain all these 3 ports. Okay, so the number of ports and type of ports, it solely depends upon the functional nature of the module. Okay, so once again I am repeating, so it is not necessary to give all the ports definitions for a digital design inside the module. That means that it is not necessary to mention all the ports, input port, output port, in-out port inside the module of your design. So this, the number of ports and type of ports depends upon the functional nature of the module. Okay, it depends upon your design. Your design may contain input port, output port, and sometimes your design may contain input port, output port, in-out port. Okay, that means it depends upon your design, whether it consists of 2 ports or it consists of 3 ports. Okay, that is this statement. The number of ports and type of ports depend solely on the functional nature of the module. Okay, so next, a module comprises a number of lexical tokens which are arranged according to some predefined order. Okay, the possible tokens are of 7 categories. Okay, so your module defines the design description, your module defines the test bench, your module may contain the number of ports, input, output, in-out ports, and your module may also comprise of a number of lexical tokens. So lexical token means a English language like tokens. Okay, so how many we have? 7. So what are they? White spaces, comments, operators, numbers, strings, identifiers, keywords. We'll discuss all these things in the next coming classes. Okay. Next, now you see, this is the structure of typical simulation module. Okay, this is the structure of a typical simulation module. Now observe, what is the first thing? That is module, which is nothing but a keyword, because any Verilog program should start with a keyword called module. Okay, now what is test here? It is nothing but the name which is assigned to the module, name of the module. Okay, and next, in the body of the module you have to write the required statements based upon your design. So statement 1, statement 2. Okay, and next, end module. This indicates the termination of the module. Termination of the module. Now you observe here, each and every line is terminated by semicolon. Each and every line is terminated by semicolon. That thing you have to remember. Okay, so what the semicolon signifies? It indicates the termination of a module statement. It signifies termination of a module statement. Okay, now once again, so this is a simple structure of a typical simulation module. So what is module? This is nothing but keyword, that is a declaration of a module. Now what is this one? This is nothing but name of the module. This is your wish. Okay, and what is the body of the module consists of? It may consist of number of statements, that is based upon your design. Okay, next, how to terminate the module? By using end module. End module. Okay, now here one thing you have to remember, that is each and every statement should terminate with semicolon. Terminate with semicolon. Okay, so this is the structure of the module declaration. Okay, next, you just observe here, whenever a module is invoked, that means called for testing or for incorporation into a bigger design module, then the name of the module, in this example test, is used to identify it for the purpose. Okay, now how you can use this module in another program? By using the name of the module. By using the name of the module. Okay, that is the meaning of this statement. Okay, here you have defined one module. Okay, So if you want to use this module in another program, okay, how you can call this module? By using the name of the module, that is test. Okay, next. Now you take one example. Okay, here simply I take one 8 input NAND gate. So what is this thing? 8 input NAND gate. So how many inputs? 8 inputs, I1 to I8. And what is the output? O is the output. Okay, what is the IC number? This one, 8 input NAND gate, IC number is 7430. Now at the right side, this gives the structure of the gate module for this particular 8 input NAND gate. Okay, now see here. So how to start your Verilog program? You always have to begin with module. You have to begin with module. Okay, that is nothing but declaration of a module. This is the keyword module. Next, by the side we have to write name of the module. Name of the module. So here you are going to design the NAND gate. So just for understanding, you had given the name as NAND underscore gate. NAND gate. This is the name of the module. Okay. So module is the declaration of the module. That is the keyword. Every Verilog program should start with this keyword module. And by the side, NAND underscore gate is nothing but the name assigned to this module. This is your wish. Okay. Now within the brackets, you have to specify the outputs and inputs. The outputs and inputs, all the outputs and inputs. Okay. Now, so first we have to specify the output. Remember, make a note. First we have to specify the output. So here O is the output that we have mentioned here. Okay. And followed by what are all these things? Inputs. That is I1 to I8. This one, I1 to I8. Okay. So first module, that is module declaration with the keyword module. Next, name of the module, that is your wish. Okay. And next within the brackets, we have to mention all the inputs and outputs. Okay. So here output is O. So we mentioned here output. First we have to mention the output, remember, comma. So next followed by all the inputs, that is 8 inputs I1 to I8. Okay. And next it should terminate with semicolon. It should terminate with semicolon. And in the body you write the statements. It depends upon your function. Okay. Function of your design. Okay. And last, how to terminate the module? Just end module. End module. Okay. And the statements we should also terminate with semicolon. Okay. Now, this is just an example of defining a module for the 8 input NAND gate, that is IC7430. Okay. Did you understand? Okay. Next. Now, we'll do some exercise on this. Okay. You just observe here some table I had given you, that is with IC number and IC type. Okay. So here IC1, IC2, IC3 and up to some IC9 and so on. Okay. Now what is the number of IC1? IC type, that is 7430. What is the type of IC2? 7430. Both are same, but the naming is different. Okay. Now what is IC9? The number is 7405. This is different. Okay. So these two are same, but this is different. Okay. So based upon this, just I have drawn some block representation of these three ICs. Okay. Just I have drawn a block representation of these three ICs. That is IC1 here and IC2 here and IC9 here. Okay. So for simplicity, I have taken these three ICs and I have drawn some block level diagram. Okay. Now you have to write a Verilog program for this. Okay. Now how to start? How to start? You one thing you notice that. So what is this IC1? What is this IC1? It is nothing but 7430. 7430. Did you heard about this 7430 in the previous topic? Yes, yes, it is this one 7430. We already discussed about this 7430 IC. Yes or no? We already discussed this 7430 IC. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So what is this 7430 IC? It is a 8 input NAND gate. Okay, have you defined the module for this 8 input NAND gate? Yes, just now you have defined the module for this 8 input NAND gate. Here it is available, readily available. Okay, that means you have defined the module for this 8 input NAND gate, that is IC7430 just now. It is already available with you. Okay, then what is the necessity of again writing the module for IC1 here? Is it necessary? No, because already it is available with you. Already it is available with you. Then what is the necessity of writing again module for IC17430? Not necessary. Absolutely not necessary. Then what you have to do? What you have to do? So in this particular example, since IC7430 already you have designed and the module is already available with you, then what you do? You will instantiate this module into your program, that is nothing but instantiation. Okay, so once again I'm repeating, it is very important concept. So in this example I have given three ICs: 7430 IC1, 7430 IC2, 7405 IC9, and some structure I have defined here. Okay, now I have to write a Verilog program for this. Now if you observe here, IC1 and IC2, that is both are 7430. So already IC7430, that is 8 input NAND gate, already you have designed. Already you have a module defined. So that module defined is available with you. Already you have this module readily available with you. Then what is the necessity of again writing the code for defining the module for IC1? Not necessary. Absolutely not necessary. Then what you have to do, since you have this NAND gate module already with you, then you will call. That is, we call here as a instantiation. Okay, so what is instantiation? Using already defined module repeatedly in the number of places. That is called instantiation. Okay. So how you instantiate? So you have given this module as name. What is that name? NAND underscore gate. NAND underscore gate. Now you just call by that name. NAND underscore gate. Okay. Okay. Now next to IC1. What is IC1? The name of this one. Name of this. Okay. And within brackets you have to specify the outputs and inputs. How many outputs? Just one output. 8 input NAND gate now. How many outputs? Just one output. So how many inputs? Will have 8 inputs, A1 to A8. Okay, don't worry about these naming conventions. Okay. So we can't see all these things in this picture. Just for simplicity, I have given like this. Okay. Now IC2. Now what is IC2? 7430. Again, it is also 7430. Then again, we'll call this module. We can instantiate this module here. Okay, again, what is the name? NAND underscore gate. So NAND underscore gate, what is the name here? IC2. Now within brackets, we have to specify the outputs and inputs. Some B2 is the output and C1 to C8 are the inputs. Then how many times you have instantiated the NAND gate module here in this example? 2 times. Okay, so already you have the NAND gate module with you, this one 7430 8 input NAND gate. Now you have instantiated 2 times. You have instantiated 2 times inside your program. Okay, that is nothing but instantiation. That is using already defined module repeatedly. So here 2 times repeatedly in the number of places. Okay, did you understand? Okay. Now what about IC9? How to define the module for IC9? This you have to define by your own, because we have not defined IC9 in the earlier case. Okay. That means here we have to define the module for IC9. Okay. Is it clear? Okay. Now Remember this, each instantiation has to be assigned a separate identifier name called IC1, IC2, etc. That's what we have done here. So this one, this is the instantiation, NAND underscore gate. We are calling this one already available module. Okay, so what is the name you mentioned here? IC1. Again, the same gate you are instantiation here. You are doing instantiation here. But what is the name? We have used the separate name, that is IC2. So this statement follows this one. Okay, each instantiation has to be assigned a separate identifier name, that is IC1, IC2. Okay, did you understand? Okay, thank you. Next, you please make a note of all these points. Okay, so here, as a part of the instantiation declaration, the input and output terminals are to be defined. Yes or no? So here we have defined this is nothing but instantiation. Already this NAND gate is available here. Now we are instantiating this. Okay, we are calling this. So in the brackets, we have to mention the outputs and inputs. The same thing here, it is given as part of the instantiation declaration. The input and output terminals are to be defined. Yes, we define. Okay. The convention followed is to stick to the same order as in the module declaration. Yes, we followed. Okay. In the module definition, we followed this order, output followed by inputs. In the instantiation also, we followed the same order, that is output followed by inputs. That you have to be careful. Okay, next, each instantiation has to be assigned a separate identifier name, that is IC1, IC2. Yes, we have done this one, IC1, IC2. Okay, next, each module can be defined only once. Yes, is it not? Each module can be defined only once. Okay, so this is IC7430. So what is this one? This is 8 input NAND gate. So how many times you define this 8 input NAND gate? Only one time. Only one module definition will be there. Yes or no? That is the thing. So each module can be defined only once. Okay. Next, module definitions are to be done independently, and one module cannot be defined inside another. They cannot be nested. This is very, very important. Did you understand this statement? Okay. So here you have defined a module for NAND gate, 8 input NAND gate. Okay, so inside this module, you should not define another module. For example, for AND gate. Okay, so you already defining the module for 8 input NAND gate. You already defining the module for 8 input NAND gate. Okay, now inside the body, you should not define module for another gate. You should not define another module inside this one module. Okay, that means modules cannot be nested. Okay, each and every module should work independently. Okay, so here in this you have defined a module for 8 input NAND gate. So if you want to define a module for AND gate, you have to define independently. You have to define separately. Okay, if you want to define a module for OR gate, you have to define separately. You have to define independently. Okay, but you should not define the module for AND gate, module for OR gate inside this module. Okay, that means one module should not be defined inside another module. That means module definition cannot be done nested. Okay, that is this thing. Module definitions are to be done independently. One module cannot be defined inside another. They cannot be nested. This is very, very important. Okay. Next, last thing. So any module can be instantiated inside another any number of times. Yes, we have done this already in the previous example. So you have this NAND gate module with you. How many times you have instantiated here? 2 times. That we can do. That we can do. Okay, instantiation can be done number of times, but module definition inside another module definition should not be done. That thing you have to remember. Okay. So any module can be instantiated inside another any number of times. Yes, we have done it. Each instantiation has to be done with a separate name assigned to it. The thing you have given here, IC1 and IC2. Okay. So all these things, you please make a note. Then it will be easy for you to understand the Verilog programming in the coming sessions. Okay. Next. Now, just I'm giving you one task based upon this session. Okay. So the first one is, you please do all these things. You please try. Okay. So first one is define module for 2 input XOR gate. Okay. Just I have given you 2 input XOR gate. Okay. How many outputs? One output. Okay. You have to define a module for 2 input XOR gate. Next, define module for 2 input AND gate. Okay, I have given you a 2 input AND gate. You have to define a module. How you define the module for these two? So your program should start with a module keyword, and by the side you have to give the name of the module, and within the brackets you have to mention the outputs and inputs. First output followed by inputs. Okay. Now body of the module you don't bother about now. Okay, body of the module there is no need to write. You don't bother about that, just leave that. And you terminate the module. How to terminate the module? End module. Okay, so for the 2 input XOR gate you write one module. For the 2 input AND gate you write another module. Now what is the third thing? Define module half adder with 1 and 2 instantiations. Okay, now in the third one you have to define a module half adder, but inside that you have to instantiate these two, that is XOR and AND. Okay, so what is the first task? You have to write a module for the XOR gate. Second thing, you have to write a module for AND gate independently. Okay, next you have to define a module for half adder, but in that you have to instantiate, you have to call already defined XOR gate module, already defined AND gate module. Okay, you please complete this task. Okay, and come to the class on Monday. Okay, randomly I will ask to show me all these tasks. Okay. Okay, next. Now this is the a small topic which I want to discuss now, that is simulation and synthesis tools. Okay, so you already know about what is meant by simulation. So simulation is nothing but verifying the functional correctness of a digital design. Okay, next, what is synthesis? Synthesis is nothing but translating your Verilog HDL code to optimized gate level implementation. So all these two things we have discussed earlier. But here it is somewhat different. We are going to discuss about the tools. What are the tools we are using to perform the simulation and synthesis? Okay. So as I am following the textbook, standard textbook, that is Digital Design through Verilog HDL, that is by B. Balatripura Sundari Garu. Okay, in the textbook, all the simulation results, all the synthesis results are done by two tools. Okay, remember. So those two are Model Sim and Leonardo Spectrum of Mentor Graphics. Okay, so in that particular standard textbook authored by Tripura Sundari Garu, okay, so all the programs, all the Verilog programs are simulated and synthesized by two tools, that is Model Sim and Leonardo Spectrum of Mentor Graphics. Okay, these two tools are used. Okay, now what is Model Sim? Model Sim has been used to simulate the designs only for simulation. Remember, Model Sim can be used only for simulation. Okay, but Leonardo Spectrum of Mentor Graphics can be used to obtain the synthesized results, synthesized circuits or synthesized results. Okay, so we have used these two tools, that is Model Sim and Leonardo Spectrum of Mentor Graphics. So Model Sim is meant for only simulation and Leonardo Spectrum of Mentor Graphics is meant for synthesis. Okay, now another thing you have to remember, that any program should say with some file name, yes or no? if you write a program in either C or C++ or Java or Python or this Verilog, you have to save that program. So here you have to give the extension .v. Okay, in the Verilog, you have to save the file name with extension .v. Okay, next, the device selected to synthesize the design is always called the target device. Is called the target device. Okay, now you have designed some circuit, some digital circuit. So first you will do the simulation. It will verify the functional correctness of your design. Okay, the simulation has been performed well. Okay, it is okay. It is fully debugged. That means no errors. Next is what you will do. We will do synthesis. So synthesis will convert your Verilog design to Verilog code to gate level, optimized gate level implementation. Now, where we synthesize this design to the real hardware, to the real hardware. That device we call it as a target device. We call it as a target device. Okay. So for example, here this is nothing but a target device. I can say this is a target device. So what is this thing? Can anybody identify this one? Yes, this is nothing but a FPGA board, Field Programmable Gate Array Board, FPGA board. This we can call it as a target device. So whatever the design you have developed in the Verilog code, that can be brought into this real hardware FPGA board to check the functionality and synthesizable results on the real-time hardware, on the real-time hardware. Okay, next, sorry. And next, another thing you have to observe here, the time step can be, for the simulation can be 1fs, ps or ns and so on. Okay, the time step. What are the units for the time step for the simulation process? Either it may be a femtoseconds, picoseconds, nanoseconds. You just you just aware of all these points. These are important. Okay, did you understand? So for simulation, you have to use the model sim. For the synthesis, you have to use the Leonardo spectrum as per the textbook. Okay. So you should save the file name with extension .v. Okay. So in order to synthesize the device selected to synthesize the design, we call it as a target device. Okay. Next, for simulation, in case of simulation, the time step values may be in these units, that is femtoseconds, picoseconds, and nanoseconds, and so on. Okay, so did you understand? So today we have discussed about the detailed description of the defining the module and the tools which are used for simulation and synthesis. Okay, in the next class we'll discuss the second part of the first unit. Okay, so by today we have completed the first part of the first unit. Okay, so let me show you once the syllabus. Just 1 second. Yeah. So unit 1, that is introduction to Verilog. So this is the first part and this is the second part. Okay. So in the first part, we have discussed about the Verilog as HDL, levels of design description, concurrency, simulation and synthesis, functional verification, system tasks, programming language interface, module definitions, simulation and synthesis tools, and test benches. Test benches already we have discussed in the earlier sessions. Okay, so by today we have completed this first part. Okay, in the next coming sessions I will start this long ways constructs and conventions. Okay, these are very important to learn to write the Verilog program. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.